Yo, this is the Wet Brains Podcast. If you're new to our podcast, we're 6 dudes in university based in different countries who are here to have a good time and make sense of life, and to include you as well. And with that...
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the third episode of the Wet Brains Podcast. I am joined again today with the boys of the hour. Bucky, Coby, what's going on?
Hi.
Yes. The Boozy or Bass, Alex, what's cracking? What's going on?
Hello.
Kia Ora, Miguel, what's going on?
Hello.
Liam Richard, what's up, man?
What's up, man?
And fresh from the hospital himself, from surgery, Keenan Rowe, local stoner, what's going on? How are you?
I'm good. I did ketamine.
Nice. Okay.
Wow, we're starting it off like that.
No. This was completely legal though. Like,
Yeah.
for understanding, like it's completely legal.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, I would imagine, especially in the
Fucking hop him up with some horse tranquilizers real quick.
They're the real plugs, you know? That's for
Yeah. Fucking hospitals, man. You just gotta injure yourself so you can get surgery. It's,
Yeah, all you gotta do is collapse your lung a couple times, right?
That's the
only,
stretch.
only 3 times, you know.
Yeah, 3 is a lucky number. So if you collapse your lung enough times, you can get some ketamine.
Yeah.
Good trade-off.
So
That's crazy. That is actually crazy that that just happened. Okay, but yeah. So yeah, let's just get straight into it. So, local stoner Keenan Rowe just came out. No, wait, sorry. He just left.
Came.
No.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's fresh from the hospital. He just came out. He had his lung essentially, what was it, glued to your rib cage, right, to stop any further collapsing in the future.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I've had it permanently stuck to my ribs.
Did they use like Mighty Bond, like fucking super glue or some shit?
I wish, but no, they
used
removed the fucking. No, they should have used like the glue that you use to put paper, like glue paper on paper.
Like fucking
Elmer's glue?
Yeah.
the sticker, the liquid.
That, but...
Dude, the doctor's just doing some like arts and crafts in your rib cage, bro.
Mache. You paper mache.
Damn, son, where'd you find this? No, yeah. So, today we're gonna be talking about injuries and recoveries that we've had in the past or recently. You know. So yeah, let's just start. Let's just get into it, dude.
He's hyped. He's hyped.
Yeah, I'm hyped, guys. So who wants to talk about injuries?
Well, I'm more curious about what was all the shit that happened, Keenan. Like, what did they do exactly to your ribs?
So I went into the theater room, fully awake or whatever, and they would put a epidural line in. So it's like a little tube they put into your back, which then pumps 8 milligrams of local anesthetic into
like in your back?
Yeah,
I've
into
never
your
heard of it
into your spine.
back.
Like into your
Are you
spine.
Venom, dude? Holy shit.
What?
Venom, sorry, Bane. I'm mixing
Bane.
up my characters, man.
So that's pretty much just makes your whole chest numb. Like you can't feel it at all. Like if you tap on it, put ice on it, you can't feel it at all.
It's crazy. What the fuck?
Insane.
Yeah, so I had that, so they put ketamine into my IV line right before they did this, and then they fucking started putting shit into my spine. And then I fell asleep, and then the doctor explained to me they removed some of the lining on the inside of my rib, and then they got like a blunt knife, and just started scratching all the other little bits. So there was bunch of blood and stuff everywhere, which caused my lung to stick to the rib cage. So that way, if it collapses, it's only going to be small amount of an air pocket rather than the whole lung collapsing again. So.
Okay.
What the fuck? Okay. Shit. Modern medicine's whack. Holy fuck.
It's a whole process, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
That's
Keenan, why
crazy.
don't you explain why you needed to get the surgery in the first place? I think.
Okay, so what is it? What is 2016? My right side of my lung collapsed after I grew was about just over an inch in the space of like a month or two.
I thought it was that
So,
7-Eleven hot dog that caused you to.
Oh yeah, it was also the 7-Eleven hot dog. Yeah, the lawsuit failed on that, so I wasn't allowed to say anything.
No, fair enough.
Yeah, but
Confidential.
yeah, just there was a little bubble in the lung, and just decided to just go just explode. So there goes the lung. Happened again in 2017 after a volleyball game. Special someone, Faker Brooks, jumping on my back for a piggyback ride after we won, which collapsed my lung again. Didn't have to have surgery for that one, luckily. But yeah, and then I had another one now, which still trying to figure out why it happened. So,
What does it feel like when the lung collapses?
Is there pain?
okay, there's only a small little bit of pain, like, but it depends on how collapsed it is, I guess is the best terminology. So, for example, my lung was down 20%, and it felt like I had indigestion, but the indigestion pain just wouldn't go away. It's the best way I can describe it.
Okay.
Did you have like trouble breathing?
No, I didn't. I never had any trouble breathing at all. Never.
That's wild. You'd assume that if it's something to do with your lung, right? You could, it would kind of mess up your breathing, but
You'd assume, but yeah, just it didn't happen.
just
some
makes
reason.
you feel like you want to shit for 24/7. Apparently.
Damn.
Yeah.
When
Yeah, go
when they
ahead.
drug you
Oh,
right in
curious.
the hospital,
He's
yeah,
curious.
and you fall asleep because do you dream about shit when under the influence of like all those anesthetics, those like the ketamine and stuff? Do you dream about shit, or is it just like
the
nothing?
ketamine? I had like a little wild dream of just like I just started seeing like like the typical like pixies and shit, and then everything was just like sort of blurry. And I just felt really like limp, and I just had this great time.
Limp.
But no, the anesthetic was I didn't like have anything, no dreaming, no nothing with it. It was just it's like teleportation for me.
Time travel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
That thing really is like time travel, though.
Yeah, it's like what was it? I went under the knife about 2:00,
Jesus.
and next thing I remember it was 5:00, waking up in recovery. So
Wow.
yeah.
What was recovery like? After waking up from the surgery, what were you feeling?
I was just really tired. It's a bit like disorientated because you don't really sort of like you come out and you feel really tired even though you've just woken up. Like you want to go back to sleep, like you've just like ran a marathon. So
Right.
but I mean, you're starting to gain awareness of like, okay, this is happening. But then, like for me, it's also I was like started moving my arm, but then like my rib cage was sore a little bit, and I was like, oh, what the hell's going on here? And then I'm like, oh, I have like tubes in my side. So it's a weird feeling.
Like tubes like feeding into your body, your ribs.
Yeah, like 2 tubes and feeding into my body. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Was it
Yeah,
to,
you
like,
sent me a
drain
photo.
blood?
Yeah. Wait, I can put a photo onto the group chat. Sorry, listeners, you won't be able to see this, but
I could flash it on the.
Wait. Bigger question though. Did they have to stick a catheter?
yes.
Oh fuck.
Damn, dude.
Was that when you were under anesthesia or like?
I was
Aware.
asleep.
Okay.
Luckily, so I didn't feel it, but like
Did you
it
feel
was
it
still
being pulled
weird.
out?
Oh, I felt it being pulled out because it was
Oh.
in for about 4 days, so I was
fuck.
well
Oh my
awake.
God.
Wait,
by
like what
this
about
stage.
like did you have to like shit or what?
Did you have a bedpan for that?
Like when I didn't have to the first time I shat was after I had all the tubes and everything removed. So
So you didn't shit for like 4 days?
no, it was just like a normal shit, and except I don't know, just a bit bigger because it was like 4 days worth of shit. No, 4 days worth of food, like in a shit. So
She.
And all that ketamine.
oh,
don't
man,
know.
I'm missing the ketamine now. Fuck,
Bro.
Lung collapse round 2. But like, okay, fuck, I don't know. Like, one of my fears of going into surgery is just, obviously like the needles, because I have a fucking fear.
Yeah,
of needles.
dude,
I
fucking
fucking
hate
hate needles.
man.
But my other fear is just like, you go to sleep, but what is the probability of you not waking up? But at the same time, you wouldn't even know if you're not gonna wake up because like you don't wake up. So then, either way,
if you don't wake up, you're
dead.
you weren't gonna know.
Yeah, like,
So
bro,
you wouldn't
is
know
it really
you're
as
dead.
bad? I don't really know. But I think like the bigger fear is more of just like something going wrong, and then you have to live with it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
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 That's totally fair.
Because like I've had to do like, well, it wasn't even like surgery. It was just more of like treatment, for like ingrown toenails. Like mine were a very severe case of like ingrown toenails because like I cut them wrong when I was younger. So like for my situation, I had to have like a portion of my nails removed from my big toe. So like it's a lot smaller than what it should normally be because like they had to remove a lot of the portion just to like give me space because like it was digging into the skin.
Oh my god. Stop.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, so like it was under anesthesia obviously, but the fucking needle was huge.
Oh. Did it hurt when the
Man.
needle went in?
Yeah, fuck it. Yes.
Nah, dude, it was painless, dog.
It was a painless needle, dude.
The doctor said it's gonna be painless. I'm like, okay, fucking sticks it in. I'm like, it's not fucking painless. You fucking lied to me.
It's gonna be painless. Ah!
Dude, and then the fucking anesthesia was so cold. Like that's the one thing. Like
Oh yeah.
it's a
weird feeling, right?
It's like a really cold sensation.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Because it's not like
It's-
your body temperature. It's a little bit colder than that. So what it ends up doing is like you feel like you're having some cold liquid inside of you, and it's such a weird. It's like ice, but inside of your skin.
Ice in my veins. Maybe.
Dude, ice in
Yeah.
your veins, dude.
Like you start feeling it like go down your arm or like whatever part of the body you get it in. It's weird.
God, I
It
can't-
That's
is.
very interesting. You can like feel it go through your body because it's like a different temperature at your
Yeah.
from your body.
So like
That's
I felt it
wild.
like covering my entire toe, right? And then the guy did like the entire procedure, like removing the nail and shit. And then like what he had to do was apply like this chemical to prevent it from growing at the roots so it didn't happen anymore. And like it was like a burning sensation slightly. And then like afterwards, right, like I was supposed to like let it heal and not do anything intense like physical activity, right? But then my boy, one of the PE coaches when I was in like grade 9, he's a volleyball coach. I think you'll know him, Keenan. He was like, "Oh, what you had surgery for your toenails? Okay, you're still running though." I'm like, "But please, my toenails, they're just very
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, I don't give a shit, man. You don't have a note." And like I showed him. He's
Oh my
like, "Okay, but
God.
you're still running."
Oh,
I'm
man.
like, "Oh my fucking god,
Oh my.
dude! It was not fucking fresh. It was not fresh. It was actually painful.
You have no note. I was fucking show you my surgery, dude. Look.
Like
Nah, that's not good enough.
like luckily after like a couple weeks it was okay because I was dealing with it for like up to a year, right? Up to like a year of just dealing with it. And it was just
Oh, yeah.
some painful fucking shit. Like I wish I got the surgery done earlier because it would have alleviated a lot of the pain.
Yeah, but dude, the pain's not valid if you don't got a doctor's note to prove it, dude.
Dude,
Come on.
Yeah.
Man said
Come on,
you're
dude.
running, bruh.
According to your coach, seeing is not believing, dude. Straight up, man. That's tough.
It's a fake toe.
Yes. Speaking about
Yeah,
needles,
fake
though.
toe.
About needles, like I used to be fucking deathly afraid of needles, man. Like when I would have to go get blood shots when I was younger, right? You know, blood shots. Is that what it's called?
Like
Or
blood
Blood
tests.
test?
Blood test.
Damn, son.
You're receiving blood, dude. You getting blood.
Yeah, I actually
Vampire.
lack blood, dude. No, it's
Bro.
a blood test. Yeah, so I would actually have to have those like orderlies hold me down like by my wrists and shit in my body just so they could stick a needle through my arm because I would squirm around too much.
Mm-hmm.
I would like start screaming in the ER, just like, "Get the fuck off me! I can't do this! I don't want this! No!"
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, okay, so I touched on this last episode, right? But like, I got like kid arthritis essentially when I was in third grade,
Yeah.
and like after like the 3 months that I was hospitalized, for the next 2 years, I had to get a shot in my arm every day of this medicine. I'm pretty sure it was like steroids or some shit. I forgot what it was, you know. Look, I didn't get buff as fuck as a third grader. I became round as hell,
Yeah.
like balled up, dude. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's after like having to take a shot every day for like a year consecutively. I don't know. You kind of get over the needle experience of like, shit. I don't want shit being stuck in me, right? You know.
That's fair.
I don't want stuff stuck in me now either. But like, just make it clear. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Back
I
in.
know you. I know
sorry,
you had
yeah.
an experience, rather, Benjo, about
Dude,
needles
yeah,
recently.
I have. I had one recently, and I had one before. Like the same thing, like with you, where I went into the place where I get blood tested, and you know the guys had to hold me down as well because I'm squirming around. Tell them like I don't want it. I don't fucking want it, dude. I really don't. My dad's like in the outside in the waiting room, and he's like, oh my gosh, he's shouting so much. he's like, oh my gosh, he's embarrassing me. And yeah, I'm just like I'm spitting bars, dude. I'm going hard like I don't want to get a fucking shot, dude. I want to get, dude, please no, dude. I don't want to get a blood test, bro, please. And then my dad comes in. He's like, what's going on? Because like the nurse brought my dad in to help him out, and then the doctor and the nurse were like, sir, we ran out of English. I don't know. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, bro. My dad was like, you know, fuck this shit. We're going home.
So you didn't get a blood test?
I didn't end up getting the blood test because the doctors and shit ran out of fucking English, dude. So there was that, and then recently, I think it was in March. No, sorry, April, where I had to get like just a flu shot because yeah, just to help out with like the whole COVID thing and whatnot. I it's whatever, and so the doctor came and gave me the vaccine for just like a flu, and I was fine at first. Like I took it like a champ, right? So I had the shot. I was okay. Wasn't freaking out or anything. I felt like a little twitch in my arm. I think that was just like a reaction that my muscles had. Are like, oh shit, I gotta fucking protect the boy. So like little twitch there, and then I decided to get up, go to the kitchen, get some water, because like I was like, okay, that was mentally draining. So I went to the kitchen. I wanted to grab some water, but as I was about to pour the water from the pitcher into my glass, like I had to put the pitcher down because I started feeling fucking faint, dude. I felt like I was gonna pass out. So like I I fell into a chair. And then my helper's like, oh my god, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I'm not feeling good. My mom comes in and she's like, what the fuck is going on here? She touches me. Apparently I was cold as fuck, and I was also very pale, very white, Nosferatu type. And yeah, like I just felt like I was gonna pass out. So yeah, I don't like needles is essentially the moral of, not a moral, but is the takeaway from the stories that I have just shared.
I can relate to that on like every single level. Like on my first blood test, I had to have like 2 nurses hold me down, and I was screaming like, "You're taking my blood, stop!"
Yeah.
Like now that I think about it, I was such a little bitch about it. But looking back at it, I'm like, I was a kid. But I had to get like a blood test recently when I came here because
Yeah.
Oh, fun story. I got when I was traveling to Australia on certain airlines. When I was rummaging on the floor to pick up my charger, I got pricked by something.
Mm.
So when I saw my finger, I saw like this little needle in my finger.
Oh, fuck.
And I'm like, yo, what the fuck? So I pulled it out, right, and then I tossed it away, and I'm just like, I'm chill. I didn't really think about it because like I was fucking dead tired. So what I ended up doing was I just watched like the Freddie Mercury movie, and then I fell asleep watching it like when it was finishing. But then when I woke up and I came off the airplane and I told like my brother about it, He's like, oh, that's so weird. Like, it's really weird that there's like a needle like that. And then that sort of reminded me of the Freddie Mercury movie and how he got fucking AIDS. And I'm like, hold up, I got pricked by a needle. It's a bit sus. So I was like, I think I need to go to the doctor real quick. So like, I went to the doctor for a fucking blood test because I was a bit paranoid. Because like, how the fuck? Like, I got pricked by a needle on an airplane, and that's like the weirdest fucking thing in the world. So I went to the doctor, told him my story, and he's like, "Oh, it's unlikely, but we can still do the blood test." I'm like, "Okay, sure." And then he pulls out the biggest fucking syringe I've seen in my life. Like, holy fuck! And then he has like the biggest vial of blood too. Like, it was a vial the size of my hand. And I'm like, "Are you gonna put that in me?" And the doctor's like, "Yeah." So which arm? I'm like, "What?" She's like, which arm? And I'm like, holy fuck. Pick my right. And then she's like, okay, so I'm just gonna stick this needle on the count of 3. And I knew she was fucking lying because when they say they're doing the count of 3, they're doing it on 1.
Yeah.
They're fucking lying to you. And then she's like, looked at me and is like, okay, here. I'm gonna count to 3 and I'm gonna fucking do it. And I'm like, okay. Wait, stop. Give me a second. So I fucking delayed it. And she's like, listen, I'm gonna have to get another fresh needle if you don't let me do it because if it stays out for too long, it might get contaminated. So I'm like, oh fuck, I don't know if she's bluffing. So I said, do it. Bitch just stuck it into me as soon as I said do it. I'm like, oh my god. And I just saw my fucking blood pour into the vial, and like internally, I was panicking. Like I'm like, do I have my consent? Like, this is my blood being taken away from me. It was the worst fucking sensation. And then she just pulled it out, and then I just started looking blood dripping out of my arm. I'm like, what the fuck?
Fuck.
I literally felt like I was on a different fucking planet. And then she cleaned it up, right? And she's like, oh, for being such a brave boy, I'm going to give you a chocolate. I'm like, hold up.
Shut the shit out of her hand.
So she fucking pulled it out of her fucking desk, and it's like, I know it's like for the kids only, but she gave it to me. And she's like, okay, here, for being such a brave kid, you can have this fucking chocolate. I'm like, okay.
Brave boy, Alex.
And then she gave me a fucking like little placard that says, roar, I did my blood test today and I was brave. Yes! I can send the photo again, but like like the fucking ladies gave me that shit. It was fucking hilarious. Because I was brave. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not even mad. But it hurt like a motherfucker for a while. But even then, I still fucking hate needles, dude. Even if I was a brave boy, I still fucking hate needles so much.
Brave as fuck, dude.
Dude, props. If I saw that needle, I would have been like, I can live with AIDS at this point.
I'm fine with the AIDS.
Yeah.
Dude, fuck. Dude, my heart literally went, bruh.
I really liked how the doctor had his sword ready for this blood test.
Wild.
Actually.
Like all the blood tests I've had here, you know, in the hospitals near me in the Philippines, like all of them have always been like quite small needles. They haven't been that big for blood tests. I mean, like, I don't actually know the size. We don't know the picture of the size of your needle that you got. But the way you described it seemed like it was like a fucking, you know, comically sized needle.
Yeah, dude, fuck, it was huge.
I was thinking of something from like Tom and Jerry where they just pull out the biggest fucking syringe and then they inject Tom with the fucking, I don't know, something.
He really said, is you is or is you not? Baby.
Yeah, and Liam, you've had your own recovery / injury story, right? Especially from last episode.
Well.
Coby keeps dogging you about it.
I'm not dogging the boy.
Oh man.
I'm dogging the cripples. I'm just kidding.
Bruh.
Yeah, I mean, at least there were no needles involved with like the whole breaking your leg recovery. It's just a long time.
But like, it's the fact that you've broken something, though, right?
That's fair.
Like,
Was
I
it
don't know.
actually broken or was it like just a fracture?
Well, yeah, I think fracture is the more appropriate term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No needles, but they
being like a fucking wheelchair dog.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair.
no needles, but they
Long-term
massage
knowledge.
you, right?
What? Oh man. Yeah, that was painful.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I first like fractured my leg, I was in a sports tournament playing soccer, and they only had one nurse on the entire campus, and he happened to be at the game, luckily. But, well, not luckily for me. This guy was absolutely useless. I'm telling you, like, this man, I don't know where he got his license. but I don't think it's real. But he comes up to me after after the big collision where I fractured my leg. He comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, how are you doing? My name's Killian." He says it like 3 times over the course of like me wriggling in pain. But later on, when I come up to him, they take me off the field, and it still hurts the next day. Like I can't walk or anything, and I end up approaching him. He's like, "Yeah, I think it's just some muscle pain. Like I don't know if your muscles are tight. I can give you a massage to loosen up your muscles." So he's there, like massaging, like groping my fractured leg.
Oh my god.
Oh,
I'm like, "No, it's not. It's not a muscle."
I
Yeah,
can only
whatever he
imagine,
said.
dude.
But anyway,
oh,
that was
must have
pretty
hurt,
scarring.
like,
Fuck.
so badly, dude.
Fuck.
I think it's some muscle pain. Let me do something to help you.
That's
Just
crazy.
get crunching
Actually
when he's
crazy.
massaging.
Did he pull out like the roller pin, like the foam roller or something, and they
Oh,
start
man.
fucking doing it on your leg, and it's just adding more pressure? Oh, fuck.
That would have killed me.
Jesus, dude.
No, luckily it's just his hands, but still.
Fuck. So how is it like recovering? Because like I think
Yeah,
what they put you in like a semi cast, right? And then boot.
a boot.
Yeah, I mean, I was in an actual cast for like a month and a half,
Mhm.
and then I switched over to like the
Air
boot,
cast.
the air cast, yeah, for another month and a half. And
That was such a short time. You're only in like a cast or anything of the sort for like 3 months.
yeah,
It was pretty
yeah,
short.
it wasn't bad. Like I've heard stories of people like with fractured, broken legs for
Yeah.
like a year or something, 6 months even.
Like why do I feel like it was like a large majority of time where you had that on? That's like because like that's my lasting image of you. So,
To this day.
to this day, I still think you have the boot on, dude.
How do you clean your leg with the fucking cast on?
Oh, when they took the cast off, it was
Oh,
nasty because you can't clean it. That's the thing.
Ew.
Like
The
I had to
actual
shower with a
cast, right?
garbage bag on.
Oh my god, that's
Or even with the
nasty.
boot.
Yeah. Like my
Damn.
skin was all like peeling and
Oh.
it's just gross, man.
Man, it must have festered, grew some mold. It could have been like a science experiment on your leg, dude. See what colonies of germs grew on your leg, dude.
Yakult. Oh no.
Yeah,
Oh,
by the
yeah.
way, if the listeners haven't gotten the memo, this episode is going to be kind of gross.
Just a little bit.
If they
Just a
don't
bit.
realize that by now, just saying. Just going to remind you. That's all.
What is it, like fucking 28 minutes in? And they're just like, man, this got gross. I'm like, bro, shouldn't you have realized from the fact that Keenan got his fucking lung glued to his fucking rib?
Yeah.
I mean, dude,
Yeah.
did you see the picture he sent where
Yeah.
it's out of his body? That's so fucking. I feel so squeamish looking at that, dude.
Dude, how do you think I felt? I had to look at that every day.
I said tube.
Why is there like string? Why is there like
Oh,
string?
those are the
Stitches, no?
stitches. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Fuck.
So
How many
attached?
stitches was
Really
it?
sewed up though.
it's just one large stitch on
Oh,
each.
okay.
Oh, is to prevent it from like going in further, or just to like help close
It's to prevent air from going back into my like lung cavity. Otherwise, my lung will collapse again.
When you said one big stitch, I thought you meant like they went through the unopened areas and stitched you there anyway to connect the two.
Oh my
I was like,
god.
oh, dude, that sucks, man.
GG.
That's a rip.
That is weird.
Yeah.
Oh, Benjo, just thinking of needles. I
Uh-huh.
remember you mentioning this one phrase specifically about the COVID vaccine.
Oh yeah. Dude, I'm
Would you like
telling
to
you
share?
right now, if the COVID vaccine is not in gummy form, COVID can fucking take my life. Dude. I'm not about that, dude.
If it's not a dinosaur vitamin or a Flintstone gummy, it ain't
Yeah,
it, chief.
if it's not a fucking Tom's Chewable, dude.
Yeah, man. For real, dude. Please.
The Rona,
Oh,
take
my.
me now.
Yeah, actually, I see the roar. I was very brave for my blood.
Vendor, please
Flash
flash
it
that
up
up
on the
when I'm doing my story.
I will flash it up. This is golden. I love that.
I just want to add, just for you guys, if you do get a lung collapse, you have to get like on average about 5 injections and like 4 blood tests as well. By
Sick.
the way,
Thank you for telling me that. I appreciate it.
Wow.
Benjo, you
Yep.
should
Make sure I won't get it
should
collapsed.
contract the collapsed lung. I don't know, contract that, cause it.
Yes, I will collapse my lung voluntarily.
Well, if you ever get juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, you get a blood test every 2 days, and while you're in the hospital, and then
Fun.
you get a needle shot every day for 2 years straight.
Wait, the question
So-
is though, have any of you guys had like an injury that you've never healed properly from? Like, for example, you just walked it off or you ignored it instead of like getting it fully checked out.
Good question.
Well, I mean,
hit
I have
my
like
funny bone this morning.
I mean,
I have
surely like, oh, no, you go.
well, I have like a couple scars. You know, like I don't know if that counts.
Because like I know for like some gym bros out there, I think a testament for your capabilities hurting yourself in the gym because you're a dumbass.
Yeah.
And I have some shit because like I have a shoulder issue to this day and a knee issue because of me being a dumbass when I started lifting.
Mm.
So like for my right shoulder, it hurts when I sleep on it, and the flexibility
shit.
isn't as strong compared to like my left.
Damn.
But like it's not that bad. Like obviously for some reason my right side of my body's a lot stronger than my left. But like I know that like comparing to my left shoulder feels a lot smoother than my right shoulder. My right shoulder has like a couple clicks in there things. Like whenever I stretch or whenever I try to put myself in a position, I can obviously feel a lot more strain in my right shoulder joint compared to like my left. And
Right.
like, part of me is like, I'll just accept it. This is what happens now. Because like I can't be fucked to go to a physio and like get it done. Which obviously you should fucking do. I'm not saying you shouldn't. Like, same thing with like my knee. Like my knee pops every now and then, and that's because like how poorly I treated my knees when I squatted and in proper form and all that, and like too heavy of weights. And a lot has to do with like poor flexibility as well. And granted, I should get that fucking checked out, but I'm not. So, I don't know. Like, as much as it somewhat affects my capabilities to gym, like it doesn't hinder my existence as long as I don't fucking sleep on that shoulder. But it's my favorite shoulder to sleep on, so it's something like be split. So it's somewhat hard, but like I don't know if you guys ever have like those moments where you fucked up your body, but you don't do anything about it, partly because like you don't think it's a big issue, or what.
Well, sometimes when I feel pain, I just take a pop of paracetamol because it's kind of a painkiller. So I just take one of those if it's really bad, and then I just chill until it goes away. Usually the body pain's just soreness, like muscle soreness, though. Nothing like lasting, like maybe your injuries or problems per se. But I know a good way to prevent all this. All those problems, you just got to start off properly, and a good way to do that is with Jim and with Joe.
Oh my god, dude.
Plug round two.
Plug round two, dude.
If you follow him and you hire him as your PT, he can give you the tips and tricks on how to properly and safely work out without having to injure yourself. Yeah.
Yes.
I got you, Benjo. This one's
Thanks,
for
man.
you.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Well, speaking of injuries and things of the sort that we don't recover from, why don't we move on to mental kind of emotional pain, boys? Stuff that we may have recovered from or may not, or are still recovering from, that we have experienced in the past, stuff like that. If anyone would like
Okay.
to go ahead first.
I have a lot to carry on, so I'll probably finish
Yeah.
it off.
Yeah.
I've got a bit to say as well. So,
Go for it. Shoot. Yeah.
well, okay. Well, I guess most of it kind of started and after. This kind of relates to my getting hospitalized with the arthritis. Because after I got hospitalized, I was 3 months late into school. I just moved campus, right? From like, because I used to study in one of the smaller campuses of our school, and then that closed down, so I had to move to the bigger one. And obviously, I only knew maybe like a handful of people there, and like everybody else was new, and I missed out the first 3 months. And I was coming back, like maybe like 60 pounds heavier, a complete ball, like not myself. Like people actually would not recognize me. Like people who knew me didn't recognize me. So like for those first couple of years, from like third grade to like sixth grade, like I just felt out of place all the time. So I think that's where a lot of my insecurities grew from in middle school, because like I didn't have that many friends. I didn't really have much people to talk to, and like kids are mean. Kids can be mean. If you're
Yeah,
bigger, if you're on the bigger side, it happened. People said shit about my weight, and it wasn't nice, right? So like I think especially then I got conscious about it, because as you grow older you become more aware of the fact that like, oh, you're bigger, and people don't, I don't know, I guess people, it's not that people don't like it, but people have a tendency to point it out, and you just kind of get conscious about that. So like I don't know, I've always had problems with my body image and how people perceived me. I guess that's why I ended up like and later in middle school, like 7th 8th grade and coming into high school, I really tried to overcompensate with that, the fact that like, oh, I didn't have that many friends in like lower school, like in preschool and shit, and I wasn't that popular. I tried really hard to overcompensate for that, so I wanted to become friends with everybody, and it was mentally draining, and it took a toll on me and my grades specifically, because I was way too much focused on wanting to become friends with everybody, that like it took my grades ended up taking a hit. I almost failed like 3 years worth of middle school, so that was pretty bad, man. I was like, I think body image is something that we all had to contend with, because well, like with Alex and Benja, we both had our, and Migs as well, we all had our body transformation. We all progress as people, but then before to get to the point where we are now, we had to be in the position where we were before, where we weren't happy with ourselves, and a lot of my driving motivation to want to get better was because I was very insecure about myself and very conscious, and it's just very tough to like look in the mirror and just not like what you see and who you see, because that's you. And like it broke me to the point where it was just like, how can I not be content with myself? This is the one person I should be content with, and yeah, I don't know, that's kind of just like an overview. Like, yeah, I'd like to blame getting arthritis for my mental issues. I wouldn't say it's that bad of mental issues, but it was definitely like there as I grew up, and it was only exacerbated by the fact that like children will be children, teenagers will be teenagers. They'll we're vain. We're gonna be focusing on like those type of things. So it only made sense that I ended up being like that, but I'm glad that I was able to grow past it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
For sure.
definitely think mental or emotional pain is like a whole different ballpark than physical pain. But sometimes they go hand in hand. Sometimes you get one or the other, and it's just bad either way. So it's good to hear that you were able to grow out of most, if not all of that, which is good. And yeah, Alex, you've got some baggage too, don't you?
I got a
If
like a fuck ton of baggage.
Yeah, if you want to share.
I feel like everyone else should share first before I share. That's what I think.
That's fair. Yeah.
Like I think like everyone has something to say, and I don't want to like devalue that, because I have very strong opinions on what I have to say.
Yeah. I don't know. School was school. High school was not it for me. I didn't like it. Like I said last episode, I think mentally was not in a good place and stuff like that. So, I'm just happy that I'm not there anymore. And then that I'm just like really glad that I was able to grow out of that mindset that I had in high school and just think about things in a much different light now. I don't necessarily I'm not necessarily a different person in a sense. I think I just look at things much like I said in a new and a different light, which is interesting. So there's that. Yeah, I mean, it's a whole thing. Mental and emotional pain. It's a whole thing, dude. Holy shit.
Yeah. High school is its own world of like social image.
Yeah.
Yeah, high school was very vain. A lot. I found myself always thinking about like how I look to other people
Yeah.
as like my main like concern in high school.
Yeah.
How am I as a friend? Am I doing this? Do I look like a good person and shit like that? Or would this be good for the optics of who I am as a public figure? Apparently, obviously it sounds way more verbose that way, but like essentially that's what like I'd say I was thinking about a lot in high school, and I think a lot of us cared about our image.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I know I did. I cared a lot about my image.
I know. I think most of us all had some form of like we cared about our self image in some way, whether it was the way we looked, our weight, our height, or some physical appearance about us, or something like that.
With stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. Like it was to the point where you would sit, that would dictate your social status in high school.
Yeah.
Like if you sat on the ground alone by yourself, who are you, bruh? Come on, like that's insane. That's actually crazy. But that's high school, I guess, which is unfortunate. But
as much as you think, all that social hierarchy is given power because people respect it, And I hate fucking talking about this because everyone's gonna be saying like, "Oh, Alex, you were part of the popular kids," shit like that, right? Like I was part of that fucking group, and I fucking regret it so much because I had to sell my fucking soul to the fucking devil just to fit in, and I still wasn't even fucking liked. And even if I was liked, I would slowly come to realize that the people I surrounded myself with were fucking dog shit cunts. Now, like this like stems from my insecurity issues that I dealt with from early childhood, being very overweight, right? Like I was bad at sports. I wasn't like social whatsoever. I was that one fucking weird kid, like the fat weird kid, right? But like I still had people around me that like they vibed with me, and like I still have them to like this very day. But when I sort of got to like middle school, I started having I like this girl, like, and then I sort of realized they're not gonna show the same attention to me compared to like someone else's because I was on the bigger side. So then that obviously made me a lot more insecure about myself as a person, and then they obviously thought I was the weird kid because I didn't like the same things they did. So already that had the impression to me that I was different, and that I didn't fit in, and that I shouldn't be there. And then as much as I tried to like fit in, I couldn't, whether it because of my inability to express myself properly, or because how fucking cringed I sound, or how awkward I sound, because like I was so anxious whenever I talked. Especially like grade 9 and 10, like any interaction. I hardly spoke to girls because I was so anxious ridden. Like I had no sense of like esteem, and I would stutter and I would say completely out of poorly timed shit when I was trying to be funny, and it just made me look more like a fucking idiot. And it drove me insane because I wanted to fit into this idea of myself that I wanted to like achieve, like I wanted to be this kind of guy. I wanted to have this kind of high school experience because it was portrayed by like media around me. You know, especially like when they started getting to like that, like the drinking portion of high school, it's just like, oh, I want to be cool, I want to fit in, I'm gonna drink as much as I want, and like that just fucks you up, you know, like you just do dumb fucking shit and you make mistakes, and when you look back at it, like, what the fuck did I just do? I just embarrassed myself so much.
Yeah.
And it was like the worst feeling in the world because you're just trying like, how can I fit into like this perfect bubble? Like it doesn't help that I came from like other personal issues that sort of made me more secluded towards myself, you know, like my inability to share or express myself properly. Like I know how I mentioned in the like previous episode how one of the key purposes for me to like losing weight was because I wanted female attention. And as much as you think like, oh, really, what a shit factor, like that was like a really big portion that pushed me to like losing weight. Like looking at like health, I didn't give a shit about my health. I wanted to like look hot. And luckily, by some magical way, I ended up coming out of like summer, and I looked decent, if not better. Like I'll be honest. And I got like a shit ton of female attention, and I was fucking thriving in it. But like it got to my fucking head. Like it got to my head, and I sort of like I got lost in the fucking sauce. Like as much as you can think about it, like I got lost in the fucking sauce, and that path took me such like a downward like spiral. Like it was a fucking slippery slope where I went through mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. Like I thought I was untouchable. I thought I was hot shit. I was the most arrogant piece of shit that there ever was. And if some people can attest to me, they can say that I was a fucking piece of shit. I was arrogant. Like I treated people that they weren't like my equals because I went from like nobody to somebody in like what 2 weeks. And like obviously like mistake after mistake, I didn't realize like I was just adding more baggage to myself than what I already had, you know? Like after everything I fucking done, like the way I've like hurt people and how people hurt me, it sort of viewed my lens.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm not trying to say like I'm some victim from like all the experiences I've had because I know that the experiences and mistakes I currently have are a result of my character at that time. And I don't believe it's a representation of my character now.
Yeah,
Yeah, people grow.
that's totally fair.
So in the person I was in high school, like I was bitter. Like junior year, I was like the most arrogant man alive. Senior year, I was bitter, resentful, hateful. I was angry. I was quick to anger. I was a list of all these horrible adjectives because of all the mistakes that I did, the weight that they have on my character, and how it impacted me, and how that impacted my relationships in high school, how it made me do really dumb things towards friends, how it made me fuck up my relationship, you know. And it even carried on despite the fact that high school ended. Partly because I was still in the environment and the mentality that led me to continuously think like that. Like to think that I always have to be on the defensive, that I always have to fit into this norm, you know. Like if you're listening to this, you most likely know the fact that everyone fucking dresses the same. If you came from like the same school, they dress exactly the same. Anytime you try to be creative or explore that and you don't do it well because you're still trying to figure things out, you're obviously gonna not fit in. And like I wanted to self-explore myself in like different ways, but obviously people didn't like think that was fucking cool because like obviously, oh, you're acting stupid, you're doing dumb shit. So obviously I carried a lot of things that made me resentful, right? And like I said, it led to me hurting the people around me.
Yeah.
And even when I came here to Australia, I still had to let go a lot of the things that I was holding on to. I held on to like the idea of myself. I held on to the idea of perception, what people perceive me as. I held on to how I should act around them, my interests. I held on to like the possibility of whether or not I can get back with my ex, right? I held on to so many ideas because I wanted to retain the old version of who I was because that's all I knew. That's all I knew. And especially the fact that I came to Australia looking for like a fresh start because of how dog shit high school was because of my mistakes. And the fact that like the corona made it that everything was online. I've had to deal with all these like issues by myself because I wasn't able to put myself in a position where I was able to meet new people that were more accepting, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like you guys are accepting obviously, but like I still need some form of like social interaction in person. Like that shit is completely different to what it's like interacting online.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So like ever since I came here, I've always been wrestling with the insecurities like or like the issues I've dealt with for like years. And I've like had to go receive therapy for this, right? I've been on therapy for like a couple months now. And I hate saying this so much, but like because like the idea when you say you get diagnosed with depression and anxiety disorder, they obviously, oh my god, are we do have to like feel pity for him, check up on him? Like no, treat me normally. I don't want you to treat me any different than how you treat someone else. And I hate saying that I have depression and anxiety because it puts me in a mindset that they'll think of me differently.
There's like a stigma with
It's
it
a
when you
stigma,
say
and
that.
I hate
And like,
saying it, right?
people
hate-
just have a preconditioned way to treat somebody with that.
Like I
And once they say
don't
that,
want
it's
your
like, oh,
sympathy or your pity, right?
yeah.
Like maybe towards like some of the shit that's like I've dealt with, maybe there, but not towards something that I'm trying to help myself get better with. And I hate saying it because it makes me look like, oh, he's doing it for your attention. Like, no, fuck off.
I think it's also because like when you say it, like yeah, because they treat you differently, you can't get out of the head that you have a problem and you're trying to get over it, right? So it's kind of like it's kind of a loop.
Like
You know, when they treat you differently, like you just treat me the same, and then maybe I'll start thinking that I'm not actually like, you know, maybe I'll start getting better.
I hate thinking
Compromising
that
about
I have a problem, and I hate people treating me like I have a problem.
Yeah.
Like even then,
Yeah.
I know I have other fucking problems. Like this isn't one. Like I have my depressive episodes, and those happen like whenever the fuck they happen, right? But that still doesn't detract from the fact that I carry like years of trauma and mental anguish that I'm still trying to deal with. And like some of that shit's fresh, so like I'm still in the process of trying to deal with it, right? And I've managed to, you know, like I've let go of the person who I used to be, you know. Like I've some like my time in Australia since I've been alone most of the time has allowed me to really reflect on what really makes me me, and the fact that I've sort of got into a little bit of philosophy to help me understand, you know, there's more to myself. Well, there's not really not. Like the way I've been interpreting the philosophy I've been reading is that there's nothing really greater than this life that we have right now that I know of. And I'm trying to make the best of it no matter how shit it was. Right?
Yeah.
So
Make the most
yeah, like
moment.
I'm trying to like, you know, let go of a lot of the issues, and I'm trying to let myself, you know, go naturally in a way that I sort of wanted to go. Like I'm not limiting myself anymore with like liking certain things just because people liked it, you know. Like I'm actually exploring things the way I want to explore. Like never in all my years of like living would I ever think of myself having a fucking mullet. But I have a mullet. Like I used to live by the always have a neat haircut to look handsome kind of rule, because like that was ingrained by my parents, and that was also ingrained by like people around me, because like, oh, you look better with like shorter hair. Like no, this mullet's fucking fabulous and it's staying.
Hell yeah.
Dude, I don't
Hell yeah.
Mullet gang for life.
honestly,
Yeah.
I don't like I used to hold myself to like beauty standards, like Asian beauty standards, but now that I'm in an environment which practically accepts anyone, no matter what walk of life they're from or what they look like, it's so diverse that you can accept who they are no matter what. I feel like I'm not pressured to fit in, or pressured to dress a certain way, or pressured to act a certain way, or pressured to speak a certain way just because of like the culture, right?
Yeah.
And
Like Asian culture is definitely like very judgmental that way.
it is like that, but it's further amplified by the idea of like class. And I hated that so much. I hated the fact that there's always that class stigma. Like I wanted to just like view people as equals, not view them differently. And I don't know, ever since like I've been dealing with these issues, I feel like a mental clarity has made things a lot better for me. Like I think if you knew me in high school, you probably knew that I was a fucking sad piece of shit. You knew I was an asshole. Like, be honest, you knew I was a fucking asshole. And you knew I was a sad asshole that was going through shit. And I don't blame you guys thinking of me like an asshole back then, because I was a fucking asshole. Like, even when I was younger, I was a fucking asshole. Like, I always was an asshole to people. And luckily, I sort of come to realize that is just me trying to, remove the amount of pain I'm feeling by just putting it on someone else, which isn't a good fucking way to deal with shit.
Projecting.
Yeah. Like, I'm saying, a lot of things that I would come to realize was also because, like, the help of my therapist to help me understand myself more. Like, I know as a guy, it's really hard to talk about your feelings towards other people.
Oh,
yeah.
Especially with, like, some parents born in a type of era when they aren't really used to the idea of guys expressing themselves.
Yeah, they gotta be tough men, you
Yeah,
know.
exactly. Like, you can still be tough, but you can still be soft inside, And
Hey, man, it takes a lot to cry, man. It
Exactly.
takes a lot it's brave. This is very like cliche sounding, but like it's if somebody cries to you and like wants to express how they're feeling, like especially like I think that's just a big step, because like in general I find it hard to want to cry in front of people or like really like expose myself and be vulnerable to others. So when people do that, I hate how the fact that people are like, oh wow, why are you crying, or like it's just like shit. If it's emotional to them and it means a lot to them, that should
it's
be
important.
really, yeah, it's important. You got to help them out. So it's like I hated that.
Like,
I hate that like mentality.
I hate the fact that I had to cry out like 4 years worth of like pain in like a couple months. I hate that so much, because that is not how you should be dealing with your emotions or the things you come across through life. Like, if something happens to you, I think you should honestly just cry it out as soon as that shit fucking happens. Don't let that shit fester.
Yeah,
Like,
don't hold back your emotions. Like obviously like time and place, but like you shouldn't have to hold it back for as long as like that long. You should. It's always nice to have an outlet, right? Even if it's with yourself. Like crying is very therapeutic, guys.
it is. It's a much
real.
better alternative than anything else you might think. Especially like anything that harms yourself. Like, I'll be honest, if you guys are listening and you have a plan of like harming yourself, it's not the fucking right thing to do. Like, call a friend or anything like that. Like, I promise you, it's so much better to do that than ever harm yourself. I promise you.
Like
I'm
I was
very
watching
blessed. Oh, sorry,
this.
go ahead.
You're good. I was watching this like Netflix show. Or well, it's really a podcast turned into a Netflix show. It's called The Midnight Gospel, and I was watching the last episode where this guy was talking to his mother, who had cancer initially, and she basically she was talking to her son about it, and then the son, who is the a host of the podcast, and he asked his mother, like, how do you deal with such a traumatic event in your life, which for him is his mother dying, just the thought of his mother dying. And she immediately replied with, you just cry, because that's all you can do, and it's probably the best thing you can do for yourself, which is fair enough, works out.
Because crying, I would say, is it's a horrible analogy, but I use it all the time. Crying is just tantamount to like peeing or pooping, right? It's essentially releasing like bad energies, or obviously release the toxins in your body, right? That's what pee is, right? And then crying is essentially the same, but you're releasing your bad emotional toxins, because you're letting it out. Like, hormones are a big factor in our bodies, and they do affect how we are and how our bodies work. So being able to cry and release all of the bad stuff, essentially, it's good. You don't feel good if you're holding in a shit or you're holding in pee for like 3 days straight.
You don't feel good.
You don't feel good
if
at all.
if you're
Good
holding
job.
in your emotional, pent up problems for however long, it's you're bound to just like
Break.
explode or break. Yeah. So it's like it's good to like flush it out every so often. Sorry, the analogy is great.
Works out. No, the analogy works out. It's good.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I recommend crying every once a month. Prescription from Dr. Roby Rantos, dude.
Side note, that's why we're the wet brains, not the dry brains.
Exactly.
You
We're
know
soft
why
boys.
we're so wet? We sob
Dude.
on a daily basis.
we fucking cry, dude. That's just
Dude, boys who cry.
Frank, yeah, most of us are gonna fucking cry at the sight of an injection.
Hey, that's not.
true,
Yeah.
true. Boys who cry.
We are boys who cry. Pearl, on your 16th birthday,
Do it fly, when I
cry.
Yeah, man. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, but seriously though, like, if you ever feel like you're in a really shit place in life, as much as you feel like your life is going downhill, it's really not. And even if you feel like you're the most alone person in the world, trust me, there's always going to be someone out there for you, like friend wise.
Definitely.
And all you have to do is just like let them know if you're actually feeling like shit.
Yeah.
Like,
It's always worth reaching out. I know it's tough for some people to think like, oh, even if I say something to them, they're not gonna care. That I'm not gonna say anything anyways. You just kind of get it in your head. But if you know you're hurting, it's always worth a shot to always just reach your hand out, because there's gonna be somebody who's there to get you. There's gonna be someone there who picks you back up when you're down. I was always blessed to have somebody by my side at most points in my life that I could run to, whether that was like my mom or like my best friend or Benjo. Like it's, there was it's always you'll be pleasantly surprised to see who's there for you. When you think nobody is, you'll be surprised. So I think definitely it's worth reaching out when you know you're hurting.
for real. I think
absolutely.
it's facts right there. I think like if you are in a position where you really don't feel like there's anyone you can reach out to, then I think that's a reevaluation of who you can really be friends with. Like maybe realize that the people you're with in your life really don't give a shit about you and are only there because they were only seeing you every day in high school. Like if there's actually people that continuously check up on you and genuinely curious about how your life is going, then maybe you should consider them a more real friend. But that's just my experience, really.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And just to finish things off, well, none of us are psychologists, psychiatrists, or doctors, but this is just stuff that we've just experienced and dealt with, and just wanted to share with you guys. So if you are feeling some type of way, whether it be emotionally distraught or physically in pain or something, go see a doctor. Go seek some professional help, stuff like that. And
There are also suicide helplines as well, which
absolutely, yeah.
we could always put in the description as well.
So yeah, just hang in there if y'all are going through something and stuff like that. And wish you guys the best if you are going through something. So, and on that note, that was the third episode of the Wet Brains podcast. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much.
See you guys next time. Yeah.
See you later, cunts.
Bye. See ya.
Love you.